Hello and welcome to the Blood Reds Morning Bulletin. I'm joined by my fellow Liverpool.com writer, Richard Garnster. Welcome. This is your first time on the stream. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Ryan Gravenberch, who's been very heavily linked, I think, with a move to Liverpool. But there's some contrasting reports about it. I mean, on the one side, on the players' end, Liverpool are interested in him. He's keen on a move, but from Bayern Munich's side, they're very adamant he's not going anywhere. What do you make of it, Richard?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? But there's no smoke without fire. I think Liverpool are genuinely interested in making this signing. He's one of several names that are going to be bandied about for the next few months, I think, now that it looks like the Jude Bellingham saga has been kicked into the long grass. For now, at least. But at the same time, obviously, Bayern Munich only signed Gravenberch a year ago. I don't think they want to show their hand too quickly. I think he's played about 18 games, but no Bundesliga starts, which shows he's obviously struggling for game time, and he won't be satisfied with that. And I'm sure Bayern won't as well. I think they paid about 16.5 million for them, and if they were to recoup that, you'd imagine that they would see that as all fair in love and war, and would be happy to move on, or they might even make a little profit on him. I suppose the real question is, could he do the job for Liverpool that is needed? It's very difficult to say, given that only a few weeks ago we were talking very much about an all eggs in one basket situation with Jude Bellingham, this generational talent who's going to come in and change things up and make Liverpool all singing, all dancing again, waving his magic wand. I mean, to be honest, that always looked a little bit fanciful to me, especially when you think about how many other players are going to be out of contract and other players underperforming and the need to spread the wealth, as it were. So I'm not seeing enough of Gravenberch to be able to say, yes, that's definitely who Liverpool should be going for, but you've got to trust Jurgen Klopp on these matters, and 9 times out of 10, he's got it right, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think recently Raphael van der Vaart said that Gravenberch was better than Bellingham, but we'll take that with a pinch of salt. Obviously,
that is quite a statement, isn't it? You know what I mean?
But to be fair, I would say this time last year, Gravenberch was kind of on level with Bellingham in terms of being among the, sort of the top 5 midfield prospects in world football. So yes, obviously he hasn't quite got going at Bayern Munich, but he's still 20 years old. He up until 20 years of age, he played over 100 games for Ajax, so he can't be that bad.
Well, Ajax are renowned for producing this conveyor belt of great players, and you haven't got to go back too far, have you, in history, to a time where they had a team that almost reached the Champions League final. I'm sure they don't need reminding of that, and a lot of those players have gone on to sign for more illustrious current clubs in Europe. And at 20 years of age, he's kind of prime Jurgen Klopp candidate, really, isn't he, for a player he can mould into what he wants. Someone who's going to be willing to take on instruction, has that top level experience, but hopefully not the ego to match. And I think that's kind of how Klopp likes them, doesn't he? He likes them understated, willing to buy into his philosophy, and then able to go out and execute it on the pitch. And Liverpool need young players, they need fresh legs, they need imagination, and he might be able to bring all those things.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I like about him. I think he's quite an all-rounder. I remember his performances against Liverpool in the Champions League when he was still just 18. And what stood out for me then is the amount of ground he covered. Like, he was everywhere on the pitch, and he obviously got rave reviews as well, but especially his performance at Anfield. So that shows you the kind of talent he is. Obviously, at Bayern Munich, he hasn't really had that much luck. I mean, considering he's up against some of the best midfielders in the world, and Kimmich, Goretzka, and etc., it's a tough ask to go in there and play regularly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that says about Liverpool's current crop of midfielders, but one thing everyone can agree on is that change is needed, and 2 or 3 of them are going to be leaving anyway, even if they haven't been first team regulars. The 2 sort of elements you touched on there, obviously the amount of ground that he covers, I think that's so important in the Premier League. We've certainly seen that this season, where we've had a couple of midfielders who've looked like the toe in a caravan at times and been overrun by teams further down the Premier League table, which is probably something we've not really been used to in the past, I don't think. But is now the case. So having the legs in there and players who can cover every blade of grass will make a huge difference. And also, if the ability to play variety as well, he did away with his forwards, and he'll be able, being able to do that with midfielders as well. And we've even seen evidence of it with his defence at times as well. But having that versatility adds extra value to what is already looks like would be a pretty decent deal in terms of a transfer fee.
Yeah, we shall wait and see what happens there. I mean, of course, I think it goes without saying, if he does come in for the kind of fee that's being reported, around 25 million, Liverpool will, of course, make other midfield reinforcements as well. So it won't just be Gravenberch alone. It's not the same sort of situation with, as say Jude Bellingham, when Liverpool wouldn't have had the space to sign anyone else or the money rather. But with Gravenberch, you have plenty of money still to spend and make other reinforcements as well.
Well, this is the key crux of the thing, isn't it? People are naturally disappointed that it looks like Bellingham won't be coming to Liverpool this year. There were hopes of signing him last summer, and obviously Haaland went to City, and the chances of that happening diminished. Now, the money that's being asked for, and what we're saying, we're kind of mooting £130 million for one player. I've said this on other Blood Red podcasts when I've been with the Echo. What happens if he gets injured? What happens if he gets injured 2 weeks into his Liverpool career, Bellingham? You've got a big problem. You've blown all your budget on one player. We can't be fanciful and think that we've got 300 million to spend. I don't think that's going to happen. We know how FSG operates. You've got, whether you like it or not, you've got to work within the parameters that are set by their business model. And if you put all your eggs in one basket and it breaks, you've got a problem, haven't you? So I think it makes absolute sense. Even if you weren't overhauling the midfield, I still think it makes sense to have a situation where you can take out existing midfielders and bring in a number of others, giving you different options. Because obviously in a game, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and you're not just going to play the same midfielders in every match. You need different options, versatility and energy. And if that means we need to make several 25, 30, 40 million pound signings, then we might as well accept that's going to be the way forward.
I mean, it's going to be an exciting summer if that's the case. But let's move on to a bit more of the present at the moment. We've seen Trent Alexander-Arnold. Many people saying he's sort of transitioned into a midfielder. I think it's more of an inverted fullback. I know Jurgen Klopp called it the double six role. But what do you make of that position? Do you think that could be a long-term thing? He's done really well. I mean, again, especially against Leeds, completed the most passes he's ever done in a Liverpool shirt. So he certainly looks comfortable in that role.
Yeah, I'm a bit old school, mate, to be honest, Ben. And I'm not having it. Basically, a double six. What? What about his shirt number? I don't know, but yeah, no, I'm not having an inverted fullback. I'm just not having it. A fullback is a fullback. Yes, you can have a right wing back or someone who plays as a conventional right back, but the idea that a fullback can wander around in midfield for more than half a game and just leg back into his position when there's a bit of trouble at the other end of the pitch doesn't work with me. I think he's done really well. And what it has shown is that the argument that Trent's got a future in midfield is a legitimate one. And people have been saying that for a long time, but it's hard to move, one of the country's best right backs out of that position when you haven't currently got an adequate replacement. So I get the experiment, and let's be honest, Liverpool needed to do something different. They've just been so dire all season, a complete lack of consistency, and yet still haven't managed to score a lot of goals in certain games. 9-0, 7-0, 7-1 or 6-1. So to that end, the experiment works. But how long do you think it would take for other coaches to work out how to mitigate Trent in that position, isolate him in the middle of the park and take advantage of the space behind. I don't think it'd take the good coaches very long to get on top of that. So I certainly don't see him doing this bizarre role as I see it for too much longer. Maybe you'll see out the rest of the season doing it. But if the future of Liverpool is Trent Alexander-Arnold wandering around in midfield, just put him in as a midfielder. Go out and sign a right back. Might be cheaper than another midfielder. You've got a player with the prerequisite qualities there who can play in midfield and as we know, deliver outstanding assists and distribution in and around the penalty area. Let's just go for it and put him in there and get another right back.
Yeah, I mean, that's something to look out for as well. I think there's been a few right backs linked recently, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. And I'm sure that's going to be...
My son loves Jeremy Frimpong by Leverkusen. So if you want to start a rumour about that one.
I think as well, Jurien Timber has been linked as well. I mean, supposedly his girlfriend is on the lookout for a house in Liverpool. So that's something to keep an eye on. I'm sure that's going to be another topic on these morning bulletins in the weeks ahead. But for now, I think that about wraps it up for today. Thanks, Richard, for joining me. You did a good job on your first time, and thanks everyone for tuning in as well. As always, do check out the rest of the Blood Red content going out today as well, and all the written content on liverpool.com as well.